Commence primary ignition.
I'm just not the hero type, clearly.
What a piece of junk.
Enterprise, this is the captain.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's all part of the plan.
Engage.
Welcome back to Podcast 2 for 1. I'm your host, Donovan Thompson, with my co-host,
Daniel Wingfield,
and we are back again after a small break. We ended up doing a baby cast on Logan earlier in the week, and now we
revisited a classic.
We did, and a 3-year classic, and now we are back to do a a review roundup of Picard.
Right, which wrapped last week, I believe.
I think so, and I think we watched and did reviews in the first 6 episodes.
Yeah,
so I think this is 7, 8, 9, and 10.
But we're just, I think it'd be better just to treat it as like talk about the show as a whole.
As
a whole.
And I actually, between now and then, have watched one whole episode.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
which one? The first one?
No, I'm on episode 5 now.
Okay, what happened in that one?
Well, I think the one episode I'm on now is called Absolute Candor, and basically it's so far he's went to the place they found like an assassin, and it's the kid that he helped train, or not train, but like he was like, "Don't you like me?" And he's like, "I do like you."
Right. Yeah. Yep.
So that's where I'm at now in the story, but I don't care about spoilers.
He's a cool assassin guy, though.
Yeah, I do like I hate spoilers, but I don't care for this purposes. You know,
Okay.
I had my chance. I had my chance.
No,
so,
you've already gotten to the episode where. Okay, let's get into this later. Let's do our first part first, because I'm already about to get into the show.
Yeah. So,
eager boy over here.
I know. Normally we don't want to talk about Picard.
I know. I have a lot of thoughts now that it's like, and I will just say, well, no, I'm not going to say that because we're not talking about Picard yet. We have to do our first part.
First off, I wanted to talk about everything is talking about the Tiger King at the moment.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I know you have. Have you seen Tiger King?
One episode left.
Oh, so you only have one
finished
episode.
It, but I know everything basically. Like, and I know like basically the last episode is just what lands him in jail. So the murder for hire plot, the lawsuit, whatever. So it's not like I'm missing any part of the story. I just haven't finished that last episode.
I end up you talking about it, and I was like, I'll get to it eventually. And then I watched one episode, and I was like, damn, that's pretty good. And then one night, Katie went to bed, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch it all. Yeah, like I binged it. Like it's like 3 a.m.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. It's an interesting documentary. I will say this: it is interesting as hell.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the best documentary series. Like, it's kind of all over the place sometimes. Like, you're like rabbit holing so many different times. Like, there's that one episode where like it feels like half the episode is an interview with Doc Antler's like ex trainer lady that like is talking about how it's a cult up there.
Oh yeah.
And like and it's just like, I don't know. There was times where I felt like this doesn't feel like a tight documentary, but it's interesting as fuck. So it doesn't really matter.
I don't know if I agree with the tightness of it all. I think that I like how Netflix has gotten good about getting people, or at least having like a structure or system where people follow this thing where basically like you have these characters and you basically you're with them, and then the next episode you learn more about them. And
sure. Typically,
I would say in some documentaries there's like, as you see the character, you learn about them, but they're doing a good job of like throwing you in the world, and then like, oh yeah, remember that character you saw earlier? Well, here's their story, and then it kind of like retroactively paints the picture.
No, and when I say that, I don't mean that it wasn't done well in any way. It's done really well, and each episode is really well structured. Almost every one of them. Like, I feel like they do well with the reveals, right? Yeah. They do well with different, like in episode 6, the one right before the last one, that one, interview with Carol Baskin where she talks about, if you wanted to eat it, you would put her perfume, you put sardine oil. Like after that clip of Joe Exotic getting like dragged around by the tiger, and you're like, oh fuck. Like,
of course,
he's about to get his leg ripped off or something.
Yeah, of course, there's manipulation there.
But that doesn't bother me. I'm just saying that's done well. I would just say as a whole, it just feels a little discombobulated. Like like if I'm just thinking about the events of Tiger King, like I couldn't. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it is about Joe Exotic, but at the same time, it's half of it isn't.
Well, it's kind of almost like who is the Tiger King? Also, you can kind of look at it that way.
But I feel like half the show isn't even talking about him. It's talking about all the other players around
It
him, which are very
definitely-
interesting.
It definitely like starts and ends with him,
Sure.
and it's kind of like this. He's like the through line, but it's definitely again kind of like more the larger world and the conspiracy. But
It is.
3 things real quick,
Sure.
because
Throw it in.
everyone's heard a lot about Tiger King and they've probably seen
It is
it.
the hot topic. It is the meme of the
It's
moment.
well, that's what I'm gonna say. The memes are amazing. Like
They
we're in
are
a we're
good.
I love
They're
the
good.
I can't financially
just say-
recover from this.
The best part about quarantine right now is
Memes.
the dankness of the meme. The internet is on point. Like
Yeah.
I don't feel like I know I shared this with you guys and on my Facebook, but there was that recut of the Revenge of the Sith movie with the music from the trailer for Once Upon a Time. And it's just like that kind of stuff. Like you only get that when millions of people are sitting around at their house bored all day.
Oh yeah. No,
You know
there's
what I
good
mean?
stuff going on.
Yeah.
But no, that and then like the I'll never financially recover from this meme. That's amazing.
That's perfect.
But
Yeah,
I think my favorite one, and our old guest Matt told me this too, and I was like, yeah, I agree. Is the one it's like, have you the joke in the movie was when you're having sex with a woman and you're picturing a man, do you picture him with a big penis or a small penis? He's like big penis. He's like, well, then you ain't that straight.
Yeah.
And those memes that are coming out of there, like, do you like Luke Bryan? And if so, you're not that straight. Those are amazing. And that's anyway, that's great. But the 2 things. One, I saw this being shared around. It looked like from some legitimate news sources. Now maybe it's fake. I don't know.
What?
Some people,
The
this
8th
right here.
episode?
No, that's real. But
Yeah, I knew that was real.
what's fake? What could be fake or whatever is that Trump is he was quoted by saying, I haven't watched the show yet, and who knows, I'm like basically I might pardon Joe Exotic, and like he was like, everyone's really rallying behind it, and like I haven't got around to it yet, but we'll see what happens. And I'm like,
Pretty hilarious.
would that be fucking wild?
Yeah,
so who knows?
One thing is interesting. I saw another magazine's reporting. They interviewed Joe while he was in prison,
Right.
like after the show, talking about how he felt about it, how he felt that he's like basically a world phenomenon at this point.
Yeah, and there was a rumor that he had COVID-19, so there was that.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah. But what was interesting was in the interview, he's obviously much less his character, and I think that's one thing you've got to think about with this documentary, that especially because we knew he was always making a document or a reality show about himself. He was always a character. He was always performing. He was always being more outlandish, more flamboyant, all that kind of stuff. So in this phone interview, he was like talking about how he regretted putting animals in cages at all. He thought it was horrible, and he's so sorry for it, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I was just like, wow, like, I mean, that just seems very different than the character we were, got familiar with in the doc.
That being said, he also may just want to be out of prison.
No, fair enough. Yeah, this could be an act all itself. Fair enough.
Yeah. But I don't know. There's, of course, he's done a lot of horrible things, but there's always that. It's like that Breaking Bad effect where you watch this character and you kind of get sympathy for him a little bit.
Yeah, I know. And sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, then it's kind of like it leads you up or builds you up to be like, man, I hope he does get revenge, and I hope Carol Baskin goes to jail. But it's like maybe Carol didn't actually kill her husband, and maybe Joe is a bad person, and X, Y, and Z. You just don't know.
It's true. I did read a report. It was from the filmmakers that produced the documentary, made the documentary, and they said that one thing that they said Joe Exotic is extremely racist, and they don't think it's they don't think it's sinister. It's a lot of ignorance. But he's extremely racist.
Oh, I'm sure.
And they just weren't able to. They made the decision not to include that, and also that there was like constant drug use.
Oh, I bet.
While they're like meth, cocaine. In fact, I saw one person posted. If you look, there's a shot of Joe's hand at one point.
Yeah.
And you'll notice his pinky fingernail is way longer than the rest. That's for coke. You know what I mean? To sniff it up.
Wild.
So I mean, it is. We really only got a small picture of what went on there, but it was an entertaining ride. It was.
The third thing is, of course, there's a lot of fan casting for like what's the inevitable movie version. But amongst all the fan casting, Rob Lowe, he came out and said that he's like possibly doing something in their own version of it.
No one had fan casted Rob Lowe.
No, but it's smart on his end.
Danny McBride.
Right. He's not the ideal choice, but it's smart on his end because it's like, hey, Rob is I think is doing a good job of like being relevant enough where he's getting work, and also he's like Parks and Rec and X, Y, and Z, and
Yeah.
I think it's smart to jump on it when you can, and
Sure.
it may even revitalize him even more.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because right now I know you are, but I've been watching a lot of West Wing, and so I've been having a lot of Rob Lowe, and I love Rob. I really enjoy Rob Lowe.
He's great.
But yeah, it was very strange seeing that. And I was like, whoa, I was having trouble imagining him not looking like him as much, but acting like that, like being that flamboyant and that, all that. Jonas.
Yeah. And to kind of finish up with Tiger King, there will be a basically like an after show.
Yep.
And it's Joe McHale, who Community just got on Netflix also.
And and he had that other Netflix show that didn't go well, but yeah.
I don't know, which one was that?
It was like the Joel McHale show with Joel McHale on Netflix. It was like a weekly show, like kind of a stand up. It's basically like it was trying to be Tosh.0, basically.
Gotcha. I think was he not? I guess he was never on Tosh.0. Didn't he?
No, but he had his own show on Comedy Central.
That's what I thought. Okay. Cool. So real quick, let's just kind of burn through some other stuff.
Burn it.
Because I'm just gonna think this is interesting. Don Cheadle would be the bad guy in Space Jam 2. And I only want to talk about that because last night I watched Space Jam.
Oh, you did?
Noah wanted to watch it, and I was like, okay.
How does it hold up? I haven't seen it in so long.
It's so good. Like that opening song, I Believe I Can Fly, was actually my favorite song as a kid.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I still love it and enjoy it. Bill Murray coming at the end and just the Looney Tunes in general are just great. I was really bringing this all up because I wanted your thoughts on Space Jam. Do you like Space Jam as a kid?
Oh, I love it. I mean, I watched it over and over and over as a kid. I think I burned the VHS till it wouldn't work anymore, kind of thing.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, just a small piece of news.
I'm interested in Space Jam too. We'll see.
Yeah, LeBron James, of course, has been.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the default. You couldn't have not done it with anyone but LeBron.
Right? Yeah.
James.
That's
he's the most equivalent to Michael Jordan we have.
One cool thing, John Cena, they are doing. He posted on his Twitter or Instagram like a picture of Exo Manowar, and Exo Manowar is the same universe as Valiant, which is the same universe as Bloodshot.
Right. Yeah, I remember.
So it's like now it's kind of like.
Who did you say again? Val Kilmer?
John Cena.
John Cena. Okay. I don't know how that makes up.
Nope.
Okay. I mean, John Cena, Vin Diesel, they should be in the same movie universe, right?
Right.
They're kind of similar types.
Well, they're going to be in Fast 9. John is playing Vin's brother.
I think the only thing they need to do is get what's his name from Guardians to be in another spin-off universe of the movie. They should just get all ex wrestlers now actors.
Oh, Dave Bautista.
Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
John Cena. I guess Vin Diesel isn't. He never did wrestling, but he could have. You wouldn't be surprised if he did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He wrestles with my heart, so that's all I know.
Yeah, exactly. Every other movie is like either you're stabbing me or kissing me. I don't know.
Yeah. Ooh, family. So another cool thing, since we're getting all these, we're in quarantine time, we're getting all these cool like quarantine watch parties.
Yeah.
And I want to kind of get into, there was a Batman v Superman watch party with Zack Snyder, and it's the Ultimate Edition.
Oh, wow.
And just kind of go prep our viewers. Next week, we're going to retro review Batman v Superman the Ultimate Edition, which you have not seen yet.
I have not seen. I've only seen the clips that you showed in like editing class in grad school.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some good stuff to analyze there in grad school. So we will be talking about that, and then our main episode next week will be amongst your news will be Zack Snyder's Justice League, and I have been obsessed with just this whole thing.
Oh, Zack Snyder talking about it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. All right. The Zack Snyder Justice League saga.
Yeah. # release the Schneider Cut. Right.
Yeah. We should just say we're talking the Schneider Cut.
Yeah.
That's going to more easily identify people what they're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking Schneider Cut next week, boys.
There you go.
And girls.
And I've been following this for a long time, and I have all the information compiled up in here. So
I will have lots of questions and zingers.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm glad to get that on the table, and hopefully it will be a one-stop shop for people who just want to know the history.
Honestly, I need I'm not clear. I have bits and pieces from you, but I'm excited to really get the full story.
It's crazy. Yeah. The whole shebang, history, where they were going, what happened, and then where we're going from there.
I'm into it.
So that's great. Amongst that, speaking of Batman, right? We have Batman update for Matt Reeves. And the cool thing is, like, it feels like these directors, like Matt Reeves and even Taika Waititi, which we'll get to in a little bit, they're having, and even James Gunn, they're having they're either watching their old movies and they're talking about the movies they're fixing to work on, like sequels and these big franchises, or B, Matt Reeves is like someone who was just in the middle of production and they got, as he said, they got a quarter way through. Yeah. And now he said editing has not begun, but they're basically going through, and he's not reworking this script because he said that the script was so tight in terms of he worked on it for like 3 years, and also it's a mystery noir crime movie.
Throw back to like the 70s, I thought he said.
Yeah, so you can't really you can't change the script up too much because, as you know, plot points are built off each other, and if you change one thing, there's a ripple effect, right, on those kind of movies. Sure. Yeah. So, which is kind of a lot of confidence there because he said that he would not do this movie unless he had creative control, and so. I don't know if you've seen the Planet of the Apes movies, but this
I just started. I just actually a couple weeks ago I finished the second one.
Yeah,
I'd seen the first one in theaters. I really
did. You
loved
enjoy Dawn?
Wait, Dawn? Yeah, I did. I think it's a very different movie than the first one. Like just in terms of
for sure.
the type of movie. It's almost 100%. Like and I feel like I could see all the conflicts coming. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Sure.
They aren't. It's not like a twist or anything.
The visual effects are pretty great.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Yeah, no, the visual effects were amazing. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, I'm interested to see the last one.
Yeah, it's
Now, did Matt Reeves do all three?
No, he just did the second, third one.
Okay,
he didn't do the first one, which was it Rise? No, it's Rise of the Planet. It's Dawn, and then War. That's it.
I know it's weird because it's not easy to distinguish which one or which, but the titles.
Yeah, it's kind of
you're
weird.
Like, wouldn't the war the Rise, then the War, then the Dawn? Like, wouldn't that be?
Yeah, no, yeah. But there's the third one's got some good stuff in it. Woody Harrelson's the bad guy in that one.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll like it. It's got a good wrap up on it all. So that and he said it's not an origin story. He said, but it's definitely. But you're going to have ties into
you're going to have to have some exposition.
Exactly.
So that's
exactly. So speaking of finishing up with Batman in the DC universe, have you seen Ezra Miller in this video? What he done?
I did not see it, but I like saw like a screen cap of when he was like slapping the person or something. Yeah. I've heard, you can actually share your screen and I can watch it with you if you want to do that, but no worries.
That's too complicated.
We could live reacts.
Right
live reacts.
Not right now. No, too
anyway,
complicated.
Yeah, so it looked bad.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's out. I mean, first of all, he was not that great as the Flash. He was just kind of okay. Like nothing that I feel like you need to hold on to as far as acting or playing the character. And then he does this, and I feel like now we just have a great reason to replace him.
No, I know it. Yeah. Well, I hate to say that, but other than I hope she's okay. Second thought was we get a new Flash, baby.
Yeah, I know.
But it is unfortunate. Sure. Can you see my screen at all?
No, you'd have to go down and click on share screen.
Here we go. I got you. Yeah. I know what's up.
Do you though?
Oh man, I have to open up my system preferences and all kinds of.
Okay. Don't worry about it.
No. Oh no, we have to turn the program off. I have to enable system preferences, and then we have to do it. So we're not doing that anyway. It seems kind of playful, kind of, in her reaction, but then it just kind of gets weird, and their reaction is like no. And because it's been so quiet on Ezra's end and WB, it's real. It has to be real.
And did we have no context for what the disagreement was?
Apparently he was bugging her, and
he was bugging her.
No, she was bugging him. Like, I bet you can't fight, or I can't fight you, that kind of thing. And so it was anyway. That's what happened there.
Like saying, she was
trying to antagonize him,
fight her,
something like that. Yeah, and he was like, "Whoa, I'm fucking the Flash." I don't know. Yeah, it's so weird.
Isn't good at punching, so.
Yeah, I know.
It's not just his power. Punching is not his power.
It's really weird. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. I have a feeling we probably will get a new Flash, which again, they need to do anyway, just because the Flash in Justice League, he wasn't my Flash, even though I kind of I accepted him in the movie. I was like, okay, this is whatever.
He filled a role, but he was nothing memorable.
I mean,
at all.
honestly, here's another big thing. Here's like the third thing I thought of immediately after. I was like, oh, no Flash or new Flash. The third thing, I was like, fuck, is that like, will this stop them from releasing the Snyder Cut even more because he's in the Snyder Cut? You know?
I don't. I think if they already had plans to, that this doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. I wonder
I mean, they're
if
still
like,
selling
well, it's-
DVDs of the Ultimate Cut. Are they going to pull those from the shelves?
Yeah, but
what I mean?
it's just it's different, whenever something happens and you haven't released something yet. I mean, look at all the money. Was it all the money in the world?
They should deep fake the guy from WB onto his face.
I would love it. Yeah, Grant Gustin. When we look at like Kevin Spacey, like they had shot that movie and it hadn't come out yet, and then they ended up reshooting scenes.
That I feel like is a lot different though. For one, coming out as a lifelong like pedophile or like
Right.
rapist, and you've been doing it your whole career, versus you got in a heated moment with a fan and lashed out.
Yeah.
That's not comparable.
We'll see how it affects the Fantastic Beasts series because he has a prominent role in that.
Right.
Plus the Flash, which he might have just hurt his career at least for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean,
'cause-
in a year, no one will remember.
Yeah, I mean, it'll take him a little bit, but he will bounce back. Of
Yeah,
course,
totally.
the last thing I want to kind of talk about is before we get into Picard. Again, there's not a whole lot of news. We're kind of just getting release dates and everything else, and
Sure.
it's just kind of more of the same people being laid off. X, Y, and Z. But we're kind of get our MCU update. All of our stuff is pushed back now by a year.
Right, everything bumped down one slot. Right.
Yeah, and then Black Panther got a May 6, 2022 slot. So just to name the top three, Black Widow comes out November 6th this year, and then now the Eternals comes out February 12th, 2021, which really sucks because that was like my top 10 most anticipated this year.
Yeah.
And then Shang-Chi is May 7th, 2021, and then the rest.
I mean, I still think it's very likely that it all gets shifted down one more slot. That Black Widow comes out February.
It's very
and
possible.
Then the next one. I just think, I think it's possible. We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens in the next couple months.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know, but speaking of like the quarantine stuff, Disney Plus, where Onward just got some it breathes new life into Onward. We just got released on Disney Plus on there, and
probably
like
needed that too.
The day it come out Noah just freaked out and he had to watch it. So like it's
he saw it in theaters with you, right?
He didn't know it with me. He saw it with his dad.
Okay.
Yeah, and but Artemis Fowl has now been announced. Let's just go ahead and completely skip.
Yeah.
And going straight to Disney Plus,
which
and then,
I understand. I don't think that would have done well at the box office.
I don't either.
It didn't
the
have
production
any
budget
hype.
was
No one was talking about it. No one was interested in it.
Yeah, well, Kenneth Branagh, he directed it, and he directed Thor.
Kenneth Branagh's amazing. He is Odin. Kenneth Branagh.
No, he's not Odin.
No, he acted a different.
He was
character,
like he was Hamlet or something like that at one point.
he was in Hamlet. He was in
Sure.
I
Something.
thought
I
he
don't
had
know.
a role.
In Thor, no, he did not. That's Anthony Hopkins is Odin in Thor.
Yeah, no, that was a mistake, but
Yeah, he's not. He's in Dunkirk recently. It's like his biggest thing. He's probably been part of recently. But so and also Iger said he kind of hinted that there's probably going to be some other movies that are skipping theatrical and going straight to whatever. Which of course
it'll be the B tier, C tier movies.
Yeah, you can't blame them for because the theater stuff going on. But did you see? I can't remember which one of the theater chains. We may have covered this, but Trolls 2 come out today actually. World Tour, the sequel, and they'll come out in on stream or not streaming, but to rent.
On
It's
demand.
completely skipped theatrical release. Right, it was their one of their big movies of the year, and even Noah saw that and he's like, "Oh my god, Trolls 2 is out." And I was like, "I wish people like Trolls, little kids do." But one of the theater chains said, "Yeah, we will not forget this that they released
Which
Trolls." I can't remember. It was a big one though. It was I don't think it was AMC. It might have been Regal or something. It was some executive, and I was like, "Damn, this is cutthroat."
What the fuck do you want them to do? I mean, I guess Trolls would have probably been a pretty big box office for kids.
It would have been.
You got
The first one made a lot of money.
Which is weird, but okay. It's always perplexing when bad movies make lots of money.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it's actually the first one's got some decent reviews, I think.
Oh no, actually, I think Reese has watched part of it. I think Justin Timberlake's in it.
Yeah, they've got a big pop song in it and everything else.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, I think there's a song he wrote for that movie, and it's
huge,
single.
huge song. Yeah. Look, we could talk more about Cassian Andor and Star Wars, that kind of stuff, but nah. Let's just go ahead and get to Picard. I mean, there's nothing a whole lot new we don't know other than like some itty bitty Rise of Skywalker things, which I started again last night actually, and I got to like the last. Yeah, I stopped at the last 40 minutes, which is when Han comes back actually, because Katie came in and I was like, I'll finish it later. But so I think we should do like eventually maybe down the line bring Travis back and do kind of like a retrospective of like
I still think it might be good to do like a year from now, like or a year from a release. That's what I'm saying. I mean down the line. I think maybe whenever Mandalorian season 2, if it premieres in the fall now, maybe we can do that then to kind of commemorate a year of our. That's gonna premiere. It's a straight to streaming thing. It's not gonna not premiere. Like, well, I don't mean not premiere. I'm saying like if they finish, because we don't if they finished or not. Yeah, that's true. I mean, here's one thing: Cassian Andor, they were 6 weeks into pre-production before it got shut down. Mm-hmm. So, who knows where all these things are lying now? It definitely sucks. We're like in this gap year now. We literally have a gap year as a society. Yeah, entertainment level. I was even thinking about this. Like, entertainment releases for the next 3 to 4 years will be, if there's a delay, they will probably mention this. For the next 3 to 4 years. Like anytime a game gets delayed, they'll be like, well, we all remember 2020 and COVID-19 and that pushed a lot of our blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Like it's going to become kind of a scapegoat eventually for delays. Probably. It is. It will be. And and maybe even creative decisions. Of course, you would assume that everything creative has to be better because you have more time now to develop things. I know. I was actually thinking, I was like, what if this ends and there's like an influx of amazing scripts all of a sudden? Well, that being said too, like there was if writers technically are, I don't know, are they still getting paid to write because they can write from their houses? Probably depends on the job. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Because the one example was whenever the writer's strike happened, 2008. I don't know, 2007, 8. Yeah. Yep. So that there was a lot of blame on that for movie quality. Because writers are writing quick, deadlines. Avengers 2, or no, sorry, Transformers 2. We're looking at. I think that one's like one of the big ones that people talk about. And even like I think Quantum of Solace, I believe. They don't like Quantum of Solace. Is that one not like? I don't like it. Is that that was the one after Casino Royale? It's awful. Yeah, I don't think it's good at all compared to the other ones. Okay. But anyway, I guess the last thing, I wanted your thoughts on this is the PS5 game controller. Yeah, it looks more like the Xbox controller, which a little more rounded. It's a little more. And to me, I'm not a fanboy per se for either one. I've only really ever owned an Xbox, and it's because that's what I kind of got in the beginning. And then like once I had a library of games, I never wanted to give those up. I never wanted to like switch over to PlayStation and have one game versus the 50 I have on Xbox, and now it's like over 100 that have digitally on there. And plus, Game Pass is killer. Have you not played like Last of Us? No. Wow. No. I don't even know if it would be my thing though, because it's very linear, and like I don't. Yes, like that's my thing. It's why. I mean, I'm a all console guy. I feel like if there's if it's incredibly linear like that, why isn't this just a movie almost? You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel sometimes about that. But anyway, what's really kept me with Xbox? I mean, I love the controller. The offset sticks feel so much better. The ergonomics of it, I mean, I've got giant hands, but it just feels way more comfortable to hold for a long time. Like I actually borrowed my friend's PS4 for the last year. I gave it back to him like last month, and I would play it and my hands would just kind of cramp from being like in this position for so long. Like, it just felt uncomfortable. So I'm liking that they're making the controller bigger. It's got a very sleek Avengers time travel suit aesthetic. Have you seen? Did you share that meme with me, or did I see that meme somewhere? Where you probably shared that. I didn't share it with you, but okay, I'm sure I saw it somewhere. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it looks cool. It looks like futury. You know what I mean? Like futuristic, or what do you think? I mean, design-wise, it's not like my favorite. I think if it was just black, I think I'd be behind it. I think the two-tone, I think it'll look better as single. The white thing was kind of like, whoa, it's just different. Yeah, no, which makes me feel like the console will be white now. Right, that's the big thing. Well, I think the big thing everyone's assuming is it's going to be two-tone the same way, like primarily white with a black, like sub-color somewhere. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I mean, again, controllers are hard because you kind of need to film in your hand. I think the best controller of all time probably is the
the 360 controller. Like I love that controller. I thought it was perfect.
But have you used the Xbox One? You don't like it as much? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I use it
very
every.
similar.
I use it every day. It's not. The bumpers is what the problem
The
is for
bumpers are
me.
different, man.
I mean, it feels good. I think everything feels good about it except the bumpers.
Mm.
And I like heavy controllers also. I like something that feels like it's weight in my hand.
Yeah.
Which the PS3 was really bad about, like a really light controller.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, it's hard to tell without it in my hand.
Yeah, I'm very excited about all these console things. I'm hopeful that none of it gets delayed majorly, or if I'm either hopeful it doesn't get delayed to like next year, the console launches, or they'll launch and like 5 people can get one because there's no stocks. You know what I mean? Like those are the 2 scenarios I don't know. I feel like
I think people are going to, I don't know. I feel like they're going to put their money towards it because if they are at home, that gives them something to really do.
Yeah, but if factories in China are shut down, how do they make it?
No, I'm talking about if they're available. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm very much interested in getting one.
Well, Last of Us Part 2 was delayed because they don't really.
That.
Their big reason was we just want everyone to have it at the same time, which I get it, but
yeah. And now
still.
everyone's thinking like that will maybe be a PS5 launch game now.
Very possible.
Which may help them, honestly. It would help them if they had a system seller game day one. That would help them. Xbox is going to have Halo. We already know that.
Is it confirmed that Last of Us Part 2 was also PS5? I mean, I'm sure it could play on PS5.
I think
because it was a PS4
Here's the
game.
thing: Sony's so bad about backwards compatibility. Who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't either. Did you hear a question? I saw this like in the headline, and we're actually running out of time. But I saw this in the headline where someone the Xbox is more powerful than the PS5, but the PS5 is faster. Is that true?
I mean, here's the thing: we're comparing a bunch of techno gobbledygook. From all of the metrics that we can measure, Xbox One is faster. Now, PlayStation claims to have some revolutionary SSD that's proprietary, like their own thing that they're doing. Mm-hmm. And we've heard some rumors from people that are like developers that are working with it right now that's saying it's amazing and stuff. But honestly, until we get them both in our hands and can like speed test them, I don't think from the spec sheet, Xbox is faster, beefier. But how that translates to actually the games playing, we won't know for a long time.
Gotcha. I'm sure it'll be under much scrutiny whenever it happens.
Oh yeah. Can't wait.
Speaking of analyzing and reviewing, let's get to our review roundup of Picard. We have about 10 minutes here.
Oh, that's plenty of time. Yeah, so Picard season 1. Wow. My feelings are mixed.
Yeah.
There was a lot that I enjoyed. There was a lot of great moments. There was a lot of character reunifications that was fun. Like, obviously, you haven't got there, but when he gets to Riker is awesome. There's a really great moment at the end where they're facing off against this Romulan fleet, and no one knows that they're going to show up. And then the Federation fleet comes, and Riker's commanding the lead ship, and he's in the captain's gear, and he's like sitting over here with this regal like gray beard.
Wow.
He gives an amazing kind of like shut the fuck up speech. Like it's a great like listen, this is the best starship Starfleet's ever made, and I got 50 more. I got a fleet of them behind me.
Now I wish I'd watched it because I don't like spoilers. Okay,
it's okay. He's like,
that's okay.
Please give me a reason to use these on you. Like it's like one of those features you're like, fuck yeah. But then he kind of leaves unceremoniously after that. It's kind of like they build up to this big conflict. They're like, oh, you know what? We resolved it. Everyone run away.
Really, it's one of those we talk it out conversations or conflicts.
I mean, yeah.
Here's a question. I have a few questions for you. Does it leave? Does Picard? What's Picard's arc? Is it just like learning to let go of the Federation, or
question?
Yeah, what is it? I don't know.
I think
I'm on episode 5, and it feels like there's nothing has changed for him.
Yeah, no, I think the big part of it is trying to redeem what happened in Mars and with the synthetics. I think it's all about like, I mean, the theme of the show is what makes a human, like what defines humanity. Can synthetic beings be human, basically, in that way, right? And so it's obviously with him, it's about him having to let go of Data, and it's really mostly about him and Data. That's like the main driving emotional force for him. I mean, I don't know. I can't point to a thing where it's like he had a arc and he learned something and things
Yeah.
changed after. Like I can't. And that's, again, this show has problems. This show has a lot of problems. There's a lot of characters that do not work. Ralphie doesn't work.
Is she
Like,
the girl? The curly-haired woman?
hair. Like her
Yeah, I'm like,
performance, it just feels so fake. Every time she
It
does
does.
something, it feels overacted.
yeah.
And I don't like.
Here's her reactions.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
And I'm not sure if that's I don't know, maybe that's her acting or maybe that's the directing. But either way, it's not good.
Who knows?
And there's things like that. There's things like the ninja character, which plays a very strange role. It keeps doing things you're like, why is he doing this? This doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like he stays on board to like fight off these guys and let Picard get away. And it's like, but you could have gotten away fine. And then kept protecting Picard, which is like your whole mission.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. It's that, like the Romulan brother and sister that are conspiring and trying to get Soji. The sister's just so boring.
She's
such
very
a, like,
mustache twirly.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And she never stops. Like those like scenes where they're in the bedroom, like arguing.
Yeah.
You get those up into like episode 8. And it's like the same roundabout dialogue.
You know what this reminds
You're
me
not
of?
going fast enough.
There
I'm doing
is-
it my way. It's just
Have you
like-
seen the show Iron Fist?
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I
The
heard
whole
them.
first season
Mainly
is
it was
literally
really bad reviews on the first
the
season.
whole first
Really
season is
bad.
literally like the brother, like there's Iron Fist, and then there's
Yeah.
then there's a brother and sister who are like
Yeah.
owns this law firm or something,
Mhm.
and all they
Yeah,
fucking do
familiar.
is argue in this boardroom for fucking 10 episodes. That's all they do. Like, I mean, that's the
Yeah,
show. That's the show.
sure.
Anyway,
And so,
that's what it reminded me of.
yeah, it's not that bad, but it has some moments that are that bad. Like you just keep revisiting conversations. You're like, I
Yeah.
think we already had this one. I will say this. I think the show serves much better to be binged. I think it works much better to kind of watch consecutively. He's like keeping the plot going because there's some episodes where it's just dead. Like nothing's happening and it's really boring.
Yeah. No, yeah, I still feel that even in 5.
Even like, okay, like the main bad girl, Commodore O,
Mhm.
the Romulan lady with the sunglasses.
Yeah.
For one, we never know why she wears sunglasses, and then she just stops, even though she's only wearing sunglasses up to a point. You're like, okay.
She's fucking they're cool, dude.
She's just not. She ends up being just such a boring, throwaway villain. Like she comes, like they show up to try to destroy the androids. The Federation shows up. There's a standoff, and she leaves.
Yeah.
And then that's the end. And you're like, okay. So
Well,
she
give me,
meant nothing. And
I have a few questions for you.
yeah, let me throw out one
Yeah, yeah,
major
yeah, yeah.
thing that was
Yeah,
like as far as plot. So the main thing that was the plot here of like the synthetics, they find the planet where these synthetics are from. But there's this, the prophecy the Romulans
From?
have, like where they've been created.
Oh,
Like
okay.
The scientist there is actually the guy that's there is basically the person that made Data back a long time ago. His son, and he looks just like Data. It's the same actor. But he's like an old
Ooh.
man now, and he's been making these androids. But the whole
That's cool.
kind of main thing, right? The Romulans are trying to kill the androids because they have this prophecy of synthetic life killing everything. And then this one android, who again is the same actor as Soji, so she's played 3 characters in one season.
Okay, did not know that.
It's just another, but she has gold skin. That's the only difference.
Gotcha.
She turns all devious and is like trying to bring these like basically deity-esque synthetic beings that were like created long ago and evolved, and they end up opening the portal for a minute, and this is the the main standoff, and these like robotic arms that look like Doc Ock start coming out of it, and like you're just like, so what's going on? Like it's just kind of like, so there's basically a synthetic religion, and
I
like,
forget Star Trek, or it gets a little like ethereal and like kind of even religion sometimes.
it totally does, but this
Yeah, I
just
forgot about
felt
that.
so out. It just didn't work for me.
Didn't
It
feel
just
like
felt
the movie.
it just felt like ham-fisted and like not thought through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I will say this for this show, it is glossy as fuck. It is as deep as a penny. You know what I mean? Like that's how I feel about it. It makes the right moves most of the time, but if you start thinking about it, the depth isn't there. And to me, that's a really big sin, because that was the opposite of original Star Trek. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't glossy. It didn't look as good as movies, but it was so deep and it was so interesting.
You kind of answered a few of my questions there, actually.
Okay. Yeah.
I only have 2 then. So 1, is there a clear direction or place that they're pushing for season 2, and do you want season 2?
Well, okay. there isn't a clear direction. Like they're all flying off in the ship at the end, and he's kind of got his crew. But I'm like, where are they going? I have no idea where they're going. He says engage, and I'm like, engage to where? Maybe I just missed it. But the other part, like
engaged to development hell.
Yeah, exactly. And we already know there's a season 2. In fact, so the other part of the show is like Picard has a brain abnormality that you hear about in episode 1, and then he's about to die in the end. He like basically does die, and what they do is they make a synth android body that looks just like him and copy his brain to another body.
Are you just fucking with me?
I'm not making this up. So basically,
these are spoilers I don't want to know. Dang. Okay.
You said it's spoiler.
I know. Well, here's the thing.
You said you even said I had my chance.
I know.
Okay, but to me, it doesn't work very well. But basically, by the end, Picard's a synthetic. He's an android. He's no longer human. He's had his brains copied to an android brain. Like, so he has all his same memories, and in every like tangible way he is Picard, but he's a robot. He's an android.
So Picard dies.
Basically, but
I mean, basically, if you copy your brain over, you're dead. It ain't like your
agree.
If your consciousness
dies, and now there's an android Picard, which who knows, maybe that will be a big plot of season 2.
Am I real or not?
It was.
Here's the thing.
Again, it was just like, I don't know. It just felt.
On April Fools, I saw this like thing on April Fools on screen, I believe, and I was like, it's like Picard is a robot or a synthetic, and then he's going to be a synthetic on Star Trek Discovery. He's going to be like a character on Star Trek Discovery. And I was like, I was like, what? And then
Discovery doesn't need him.
And then I was like, oh, it's April Fools. I was like, oh, that's just a bad April Fools joke. Now it sounds like half of it's true.
Yes. Oh, it's just, I don't know. I just don't know where the show is going.
Damn, that really depresses me because I feel like that's into Picard's story now. Because to me, Picard is, again, the way I look at like consciousness and like even like Westworld and like other things is like if you copy someone's brainwaves, like that's a copy. It's not the real thing. And I know we're getting to like semantics here.
It becomes a huge gray area because you're right. That is a definite argument. But then there's the argument that, but this isn't just like a robot. This is something that still makes unique decisions, makes like
sure.
in every functional way.
For sure. It makes sense. And I agree with that. But I'm saying to me, that means Picard's dead. And that's unfortunate.
It basically does. But he's not. It's just.
No.
And they even did this whole thing where he's like, am I immortal now? And they're like, no, we gave you a lifespan where basically you'll live as much as you would have if you hadn't had the brain morality. I know. I can't make this up.
Here's my question. Why? What does that serve narratively? Maybe for season 2, but what does that serve narratively?
Okay, the only part that it serves is like, well, Picard's dead, but not. He is in this like dream sequence with Data, and Data talks about how the biggest part of like what he always missed from being a human, because Data was always trying to be human. He's like I think the big thing I missed was mortality. Like even though he died on that ship, Picard had him like active in that little box. His like matrix was active or something, even though it wasn't functioning. And so he has this discussion where he even like asks, "Will you let me die now? Will you let me like just turn me off? Basically, let me actually die." And he does. So I think they were playing off that where you should. I mean, there's enough.
Watch it.
There's enough good moments, and it is a thing. But yeah, for season 2.
Maybe they shouldn't bring back old franchises and then destroy them.
I know. I mean, I got so hyped when this got announced. Like it was
I was too.
I think a few years ago, and it just blew my mind. But what I was gonna say is season 2. My guess is it's gonna be Borg related because we got a few moments of that. Even like there's a few moments I won't spoil because they're not plot centric with Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9. That does some cool stuff, and that Borg cube's like a big part of the show, and so but it's really not specific to this plot of the show. So my assumption is that the Borg will actually become a main part of the show. Maybe like they're coming back because they haven't actually been seen in the universe since Well, I don't know
Nemesis,
if the last event.
or was
Well,
it
no, I
Nemesis?
think maybe the end of Voyager would have been the last
Oh,
like
gotcha.
historical moment as far as Borg interaction. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha. Yeah, that
Like
makes
the
sense.
last moment in canon that.
Yeah.
And they killed a Borg queen at that point, but we know there's multiple.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Well,
We will see.
last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. Can we both agree on one thing about Picard? And this is something I relearned in the last 48 hours.
Okay.
The opening credit sequence is amazing.
It's great. It's beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. No, I the music is like amazing. When it kicks into like that melody, you're
it's
like,
got
oh my
so
God.
many great little like homages in the
Yeah,
score
it's
to
great.
older like Star Trek
Yeah.
homages and stuff. In fact, you know, it's amazing. I just realized this. The main, actually, this is really cool. The main theme of that.
We're running out of time. Go ahead.
Okay, I know. The main theme of, in fact, I'm going to pull it up. The main theme of the show is from an episode of Picard,
Oh.
and I will pull it up really quick. It's at the end of an episode, and you'll probably recognize it. Let's see, lessons. Yeah, that's it.
Is that you?
No, I think that's you.
Again?
Probably telling us that we're done
I don't know.
or should be done.
Maybe. I don't know. The
Okay, here we
stupid
go, here we
beeping
go.
thing. Yeah, drown him out. Drown out this beeping.
What is that?
It's happening again. I wonder if we
Okay.
hit a certain.
Here,
yeah.
I'm about to share my screen with you.
For all you listeners out there,
Oh
you,
shit! I have to do
you
this.
can.
Okay, I
yeah.
wonder if I can just play this and you'll hear it. Nope, definitely not.
All right.
Oh,
Well, maybe it's something we'll have
okay.
to
Do
check
you hear
out
it now?
later.
Okay, you hear the
Yes.
music?
Yes.
Okay, so he's about to play the flute. I'm gonna skip to it. Here it is. It's all the way. Here it is. I'll show you. It's this episode where Picard is stuck in a say what? I know we're at the end.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. It's this episode where Picard is he's beamed to a planet. It's actually you'll find this funny. It's where like the Rick and Morty joke comes from. Basically, he goes to a planet and there's this beacon that is basically the memories of a long lost civilization, and it goes into his mind. And basically, he in his mind within a few hours lives through a lifetime of someone from that planet, and it reveals how that planet died. Like basically, an asteroid hit it. And so that's where that moment, like in Rick and Morty, where he's like, "I just lived my whole life with a wife and kid," you know, like,
which is
that's
scary.
where that comes from.
Yeah.
It's great. But there in the show, his son in the universe he thinks like he's in his head plays the flute, and that song is the main score of Picard.
So wait, you said this. You said the show. You said this. You said earlier the scores from an episode of Picard. You mean TNG?
TNG, sorry, yes.
Okay,
TNG.
okay, I was very
so
confused.
An old episode of The Next Generation. It was
Gotcha.
one of the most iconic ones,
Yeah.
and like memorable. And yeah, they use the flute in that for the
Makes
main
me wonder
theme
thematically, what does that mean for the show later? Who knows?
Yeah. Who knows?
Anyway, how can our listeners write into us, Daniel?
They can write in at bit.ly/241mail. That is bit.ly/241mail. I believe it'll be on that corner of the screen above Donovan. I think.
Very possible it could happen.
Yeah. Or he will troll me.
Yeah.
Which I deserve.
I won't. I'm not you. Of course, if you want to follow us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, those are down below. And we, of course, always ask you to watch the content on YouTube because it is the best way to consume the content. And if you want to check out more about Podcast 2 for 1, go to our website, podcast2for1.com. And I'm trying to think, pretty much it. Yeah.
I think we
always
did it.
leave us reviews and stuff and comment.
Only 5
and,
stars.
Yeah, and we will always.
We'd love to know. In fact, I'll just throw this out that I would love to know if anyone out there had felt differently about Picard.
Yeah.
If you liked it, for what reasons you liked it, if you disagreed with me about anything, Joel, looking at you, bub. But
Our biggest fan.
yeah, exactly. Our number one only fan.
Yeah.
That's what we should start calling our number one only fan.
There you go.
But I would love to hear. I would love to hear it. I know there's a lot of other Trekkies out there. Let me know what you think.
Yeah, cool. Well, Daniel, it was nice. And for all listeners out there, my name is Donovan Thompson.
And I am Daniel Wingfield.
And we have spoken.